Welcome back to Johnny's Corner.
Hello,
Special
hello.
guest. Actually, my favorite guest, Josh Jones.
Thank you, Johnny. Thank you for having me.
And low-key, he has some shares in the company. They're make-believe shares, but he has some. Anyways.
So what are we talking about today?
Tonight, we're doing Hellraiser, the original. Clive Barker masterpiece, in my opinion. Classic horror, classic filming, classic budget, and classic cinematography, classic score, and classic...
It's also classy.
It's very classy, too. There's Julia. She's a very classy British person. There's Doug Bradley. He's very classy.
So let's tell the audience a little bit about what the movie,
why don't you set it off? Say,
all right.
Check out this old VHS's
I'm literally going to read the synopsis off the back for you guys, and then Johnny and I are going to give you our own rendition of the plot and what we think the film's really about. And then we'll discuss some of the characters, some of the archetypes in it, the subtext, all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
But basically, the story is about an old family home with untold mysteries and horrors for Larry Cotton and his wife Julia. Floorboards that rattle, rooms that absorb blood, the heavy and haunting air of things long past and better left forgotten.
Very poetic.
All fueled by the fugitive spirit of Larry's brother Frank, who hovers halfway between this world and the next.
Sexual deviant.
Between extreme pleasure and excruciating pain. Sounds
Same
fun.
for him.
And between family devotion and a deadly instinct for survival. Slowly, the old family home begins to swallow the Cottons, and there is no escape. For secret alliances and murderous seductions have been made which will propel the Cotton family into the horrifying and shocking conclusion of
Hellraiser!
So we obviously we can't fail to mention that this is
What's your
basically
pleasure, sir?
Clive Barker's directorial debut, and it's also based off of his novella The Hellbound Heart, which came out in 1986, a year prior to the making of the film, which is just a nice, quick, short read. It's about 186 pages.
Hellpriest, not Pinhead.
That's right. In the novella, some of the Cenobites or the demons are depicted a little bit differently. They have different names. Pinhead, which is what the fans usually refer to him as, is actually called Hellpriest, and some of the other Cenobites have different names as well. But we're not going to be talking much about the novella. Just want to remind you guys that this is out there, very cool, especially if you're fans of the film.
Let me jump right in. We're going to get into it. So, this movie starts off, super epic music.
Christopher Young did the score.
Christopher Young.
It's very good.
So Frank, the perverted deviant, looks like maybe a soldier of fortune, soldier of hire type guy. Who knows? You find out later he's a kind of a pervy, weirdo type guy. Not a nice
He's into
person.
bondage and sadomasochistic.
So anyways,
things.
He's the type of guy that I get. What I get from the film is that he's fucked everything. He's done every kind of kinky sex you could think of, and now the only thing he has left is really fucked up dark shit. So he gets a hold of this puzzle box.
Yeah, the Le Marchand configuration, or the Lament
I would call it
configuration.
like a Rubik's Cube from hell.
Yeah, the Rubik's
And
Cube from
so
hell.
he gets a hold of this thing, and this Asian guy in a Middle Eastern country sells it to him. He's like, "It was always yours. What's your pleasure, sir?" And
So
he gets this box. He brings the box across wherever he got it from. He brings it back to his family home, and he starts playing with it, tinkering with it, and some
solves it. He
demons come out and show him pleasure and pain, and his face is on the floor essentially. And then the movie comes into this weird story about a family moving in this old house with this crazy artwork and crazy resurrection type theme, and
it's Frank's brother.
There's maggots, and it's really nice and creepy.
So Frank gets killed, right? Yeah, in the attic of his old family home by the demons that he summons from opening the puzzle box, and then his brother Larry and Larry's new wife Julia move into the home shortly after.
You find out later that Julia has had an affair with Frank, and it was the best sex of her life.
This is key to the plot.
We'll get onto that later.
We'll discuss that more.
Yeah.
And Frank, though he's been killed by these demons, which were evoked from opening the box, is still residing somehow in a liminal or in between.
In the floorboards.
In between space, in the floorboards of the home. Sort of Frank's
his gateway
corpse is still somehow residing there. And
so
Larry...
anyways, Larry cuts his thumb on a boo-boo carrying the couch in or some shit and goes, I don't like the sight of blood. And it drips on the floor.
And then, it, like in a very... There's a lot of elements of vampirism,
resurrection, reanimation.
Frank somehow sucks the blood from the floor and starts to slowly rejuvenate back to
My favorite part is when the spine connects to the brain and it goes, It's fucking creepy, man. You're like, most people are like, alright, that's enough. And they don't watch it, but we're horror fans.
So, because Frank has had this prior affair with Julia, when she realizes that Frank is slowly coming back to life,
he's like, "Don't look at me!"
The attic of their home.
You need to bring me more flesh.
She agrees to form an alliance with him. In which
now,
case,
is it just me, or does Frank's voice change when he's a demon?
It's totally different. It's a different guy.
Yeah, I thought so.
But Julia agrees to go out and start luring men that she has picked up from the bar back to the home for Frank to feed off of.
Oh, imagine that.
And
have a nice day at the bar. You're bald. You're fat. And a semi-attractive British lady in America says, "Hey, you want to come back to my fucking mansion?"
And they're like, "Sure." And then they get a hammer in the back of the
head.
Hammer
in the back of the head.
And then Frank sucks
Please
them dry.
No! Don't look at me.
With every life that Frank takes, the more human he becomes.
Human, like I said, I think
these strange.
He'll never become human. He could suck up all the meat he wants.
Survival of the fittest.
He needs a skin. He needs a skin.
And these animalistic tendencies.
What about the BDSM?
The more they kill, the stronger they become. So it's very, very strange sort of subtext going on.
I thought it was weird. Not weird, but a tell of the times. It was the 80s. And all the Cenobites, the demons, were wearing like BDSM,
like
leather,
black leather bondage,
like very
stuff.
bondage. Kind of reminded me of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, and it's like the gym teacher in bondage, like very risque for the time. Now, not so much.
Well, you got that whole element of like pain and pleasure indivisible that they talk about in the movie, right?
It's like, really just pain.
You can't have one without the other, and these BDSM freaks are kind of on that that vibe of like. The more pain you receive once you get a little bit of pleasure, how much better it is. So that's a big angle of the film.
There's a lot about that.
Strange bondage stuff going on in the movie. Frank was obviously very, very involved.
Yeah, like I said earlier, he did every kind of weird thing. Like if you ever want to see something creepy,
the costumes are reminiscent of the Gimp from Pulp Fiction.
Right.
We get a little bit of a Gimp
watch
vibe.
The Jake the Snake documentary. Where he's like, I fucked everything. I had to get used toys, and then toys didn't work anymore. That's Frank, He's like, the toys don't work. The slapping and the hitting's not working anymore. I need something darker.
The stomping on the nuts, just not cutting it anymore.
Yeah,
so he's got to really get into some serious pain.
He is fucked.
It's very George Hegel for you philosophers out there.
I think he was such a piece of shit on life. That's why he became a demon.
Well, you can't have one without the other. You got to have pain to realize what pleasure is, and vice versa.
Now, I think after 2...
What about some of the archetypes?
Well...
Julia, the wicked stepmother...
Wicked Witch of the West. Or, no, maybe... I think Snow White, there's a reference there.
Oh, in part 2?
In part 2 there is.
She says, I'm not just the wicked stepmother anymore.
I'm the evil queen.
Evil queen.
That's right.
So Julia evolves to become this disturbing villainess who, again, is just so great.
Oh, and by the way, this might be strange.
Claire Higgins.
I'll tell you, number 1, Hellraiser 1. Hellraiser is a phenomenal film. But I personally love to watch 2 more. I agree that 1 is a better film. But I've watched it many times, so now I get more kicks out of 2. I find it hilarious. I find it creepy.
2 is
the
great.
Leviathan aspect. We'll get into 2 next time, but just love the franchise. I like the movies that people don't like. Like there's a lot of Hellraisers. There's like 11 of them or something crazy, and like half of them are shit. Like garbage. Throw it in a fucking fire and say goodnight. And Clive has no partnership with any of them except for 1 and 2 and 3, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think 4 is better than 3. I know. Leave your comments in the comment section.
Bloodline 4 is pretty good too.
Yeah. Am I thinking of the one with that guy?
That's the one with the backstory of
the guy from
how the Lamarchand or Lament configuration.
No, what's the one with this guy?
That I think is Inferno. I think it's Hellraiser Inferno.
Everyone hates on Inferno. I thought it was a cool thriller. It's not really a horror movie, like per se.
Let's stay on track.
Oh, sorry, we're getting ahead of ourselves. Anyway,
another thing that
I brought out some Clive Barker films.
We got all our Clive Barker stuff here in the background.
Oh, I just dropped Hellraiser. I dropped Pinhead.
He'll be all right.
He's gonna. I hope his pins aren't fucked.
Another thought we had on the film that was interesting was how
his pins are fine.
The family home is littered with a lot of religious iconography and symbolism.
Yeah.
It comes across as almost a holy place or space.
Yeah.
Yet that's the total
There's
opposite.
There's a weird picture at the.
That's not what's going on inside the home. It's a very unholy place, especially up in the attic.
Yeah.
Where you look at the sinister things going on with Frank and Julia.
Oh, and the maggots and the old food, and he's been dead a while. You can tell.
And then Bob Keane. We were gonna say
special effects.
Special effects by Bob Keane.
He did a terrific job.
Excellent.
He had no budget.
Very good stuff.
He killed it, and he was actually kind of pissed, according to reports.
He was unhappy with the results.
With the ending,
said, but we think.
No, he enjoyed most of it, but by the end, they were starting to use like digital effects because that's all they could afford, which is weird because you'd think that'd be more. But I was happy with it.
I was gonna say a question for the fans too.
Question for your fans. What did you think about the ending?
And
did it remind you of Terminator 1 when it's kind of a little ghetto at the end?
Stop motion.
Yeah.
And who's your favorite Cenobite? Okay,
yeah.
Johnny likes Butterball.
I like Butterball because I don't know why.
I think I like female Cenobite, my favorite.
I think she's
pretty hot.
Most collectible.
Yeah,
she's so hot with her pale skin and her scraggly like bald hair.
Let us know in the comments.
It's gorgeous. Yeah, let us know. I always thought Julia was hot for like a dark, twisted woman, older woman.
Just don't go home from the bar with her.
Kirsty is hot.
Not a hot one-night stand, but anyway.
Anyways, we digress. Good review. You think so?
I think we did a pretty
good job.
I think so.
All right.
Hope you guys liked it.
We'll see you next time at Johnny's Corner. Movie reviews, video
Thank you
game
guys
reviews
for
coming,
Cheers, brother.
and short films coming to you. See you next time. Ciao.